All right, thank you guys. Welcome to the video. Now, a lot of you guys have been asking, where's the college basketball video here today? Well, come on in here. I've been hanging out with my cousin Thick all day. Oh, she almost fell down.
You out with the door.
I've been hanging out with my cousin Thick. I know you guys remember her from a year ago because I had her on a couple podcasts, and that's all everybody asked for.
Get famous,
You know, for the baby. I don't even know if they're... that's not Thick's baby. That's just a random baby. But anyway, guys, a little bit busy today, but obviously a lot of work to do with as many games as we're covering. But anyway, guys, welcome to our college basketball video here today for Saturday, March 20th. And if you end up really enjoying today's video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up by smashing that like button. And if you haven't already done so already, please feel free to hit that subscribe button as well. I greatly appreciate it. With that, guys, we're going to start off with the 3 o'clock slate. I'm talking about Texas Southern versus Michigan, 3 p.m. Eastern start time. Now, the Michigan Wolverines are the 25-point favorite. Total's 141.5. And if you like Texas Southern in a big-time upset at the Mackey Arena, they're plus 1225 on the money line. Now, guys, we're hitting at 60% our last 10 Underdog tier package picks on my Patreon website. And if you want to access today's Underdog tier package pick, it's only going to cost you just $4.99. We're also hitting at 60% our last 15 Underdog tier package picks in that very same category. And if you want to join the 1,375 members who are currently signed up and active on that Patreon page, link for that site is in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, guys, as good as Michigan is, this is an absurdly high number right here. Texas Southern is currently on a 10-game winning streak, and they've also been victorious in 15 out of their last 16. So I know the strength of schedule is a little bit down, but these guys have been absolutely smoking these lower caliber squads. Now, the Tigers have a winning record away from their home court, and they rank in the top 5 in the country in offensive rebounding. Michael Weathers is scoring over 16 points a game along with 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Now, the senior guard has also recorded 48 total steals and 24 blocks. Meanwhile, John Walker III is averaging over a dozen a game himself, along with 5 rebounds. Texas Southern held their opponents to just 30% shooting from beyond the arc. They're taking on a Michigan squad who's heavily favored in this one, and rightfully so. But they didn't get this far playing recklessly, and I feel like blowing a team out by more than 25 points in the first round here, it does require some recklessness with your starters, maybe keeping them in a little bit later than you should. And if you want to break it down to the numbers, the Wolverines have lost 3 out of their last 5 ball games, and they failed to cover the number 3 times during that stretch as well. Even worse, Michigan's top guy, Isaiah Livers, he's out indefinitely with a foot injury. He's actually their second leading scorer, one of their top 3-point shooters, and overall, just one of the team leaders in that program. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the scoring in this one, Michigan did see contests with Maryland and Ohio State get over the number within their past handful of contests. Meanwhile, the Tigers of Texas Southern, they saw 5 out of their last 9 get over the line themselves. The Tigers also went 14-10 to the over for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward the Texas Southern Tigers plus 25 and the over 141.5. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Cal Santa Barbara versus Creighton, 3:30 p.m. Eastern tip-off. Now, the Creighton Blue Jays are minus 7.5, totals 138. Now, Creighton heads into this tournament losers of 3 out of their last 6. They also covered just 6 of 14 away from their home court this year, and they make a dismal 64% of their foul shots. Now, the Blue Jays have also struggled in the defensive rebounding department. Is there a baby crawling out here?
Yeah, there is.
There is? Oh, she's not crawling, she's walking.
We don't crawl
She's
anymore.
running around. Anyway, the Blue Jays have also struggled in the defensive rebounding department. I know I just said that. They're taking on a Santa Barbara team who's on a 5-game winning streak, and they picked up the W in 18 out of their last 19 matchups. Ja'Cory McLaughlin is scoring over 16 points a night for the Gauchos, 3 rebounds, 5 assists for the 6'4 senior. McLaughlin's also making nearly 41% of his three-pointers, He's recorded 39 total steals defensively. Meanwhile, Amadou Sow is scoring 13 points a game himself, along with 7 rebounds. The Gauchos are in the top 25 in the nation defensively in points allowed, top 25 in defensive rebounding as well. Now, total-wise, oddly enough, 2 out of Santa Barbara's last 3 contests did get over the number. Creighton saw 4 out of their last 7 get over the total themselves, throwing out the Georgetown contest. I'm going to lean toward the Cal Santa Barbara Gauchos plus 7.5 and the over 138. All right, next contest, it is going to be Iona versus Bama, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, the Alabama Crimson Tide, they are minus 16.5, totals 147. Bama's in the top 30 in the country in scoring, top 10 in offensive rebounding. Jaden Shackelford scoring over 14 points a game, along with 3 rebounds and a couple assists. Meanwhile, Javon Quinterly is scoring over a dozen a game himself, along with 2 rebounds and 3 assists as well. The Crimson Tide is in the top 15 in the nation in defending the 3-ball. They allow just 69 points a game, and they're holding their opponents to just 28% shooting from beyond the arc. Now they're taking on an Iona squad who scores just 67 points a game away from their home court. And they actually suffered losses to the likes of Quinnipiac and Manhattan within their last handful of contests. As a matter of fact, they failed to cover against Niagara just 2 games ago. And although some folks out there might think that Rick Pitino can do his magic, maybe pull the rabbit out of the hat, maybe coaches Iona Gales into a victory here in the tourney, I just don't think, they simply just don't have the horses to get the job done here, in my opinion. Now, total-wise, 4 out of Iona's last 5 ball games stayed under the line, 7-4 to the under overall for the season in their games away from their home court. Meanwhile, the Crimson Tide saw 5 out of their The Crimson Tide saw 5 out of their last 7 stay under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Bama Crimson Tide minus 16.5 and the under 147. All right, next matchup. It is going to be Drake versus USC, 4:30 Eastern start time. The USC Trojans are the 6.5-point favorite. Totals 134 juice to the over. But as solid as USC's been this season, they've actually been pretty bad against the number lately. And as a matter of fact, the Trojans have failed to cover the point spread in their last 3 straight. Now, they also failed to cover the number in 6 out of their last 8 as well. The USC Trojans are making just 64% of their free throws, really struggling from the stripe, certainly not making people pay when they put them to the line. And they also failed to cover against the likes of Utah, Cal, and Washington State this season. Now, they're taking on a Drake team who had a real nice victory over a good Wichita State program in the first 4 of the tournament. The Bulldogs have won 12 of 15 away from their home court this season, and they successfully covered the point spread in nearly 70% of those contests. Now, good news for Drake fans. Shanquan Hemphill, he's back in the lineup and healthy for the Bulldogs. He's averaging 13 points a game along with 6 rebounds for the 6'6 senior. Meanwhile, Joseph Yusufu is scoring over a dozen a night himself, along with 33 total steals on the season. The Bulldogs are averaging 77 points per contest, and they make nearly 50% of their field goals. They also allow just 64 points per contest for the entire season. Now, when it comes to the number in this one, 2 out of Drake's last 3 got over the posted total, 70% to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, USC saw their last 2 straight get over the number themselves, 60% to the over in their last 10 as well. I'm going to lean toward Drake Bulldogs plus 6.5 and the over 134. All right, next contest. It is going to be, do you want to say hi?
Sure.
YouTube? Just say hello.
Hi.
Hello. All right, get out of here. Bye. All right, that was Mackenzie, by the way. We just call her Kenzie or Kenji. But anyway, guys, next matchup. It is going to be Grand Canyon versus Iowa, 6:25 Eastern tip-off. The Iowa Hawkeyes are the 14-point favorite. Totals 144.5. Now, the Hawkeyes won 4 out of their last 5 ball games, 8-2 straight up in their last 10. Iowa's currently in the top 10 in the nation in scoring on average per contest, top 15 in shooting the 3-ball. The Hawkeyes are averaging 84 points per contest, and they're making nearly 40% of their 3-pointers collectively as a team. Now, Luka Garza scoring over 23 points a game along with 8 rebounds. The 6'11 senior has also recorded 49 total blocks, and he makes 41% of his three-pointers. Meanwhile, Joe Wieskamp is scoring 14 points per contest himself, along with 6 boards. Wieskamp is making nearly 48% of his three-pointers as well. The Hawkeyes are in the top 15 in the country in offensive rebounding. They're taking on a Grand Canyon squad who lost 3 out of their last 6, throwing out the New Mexico State contest. The Antelopes suffered losses to the likes of Utah Valley, Seattle, and Cal Baptist during that stretch. The Antelopes also scored just 69 points per contest away from their home court. They make only 30% of their three-pointers in that same category. Now, total-wise, 3 out of GCU's last 5 outings got over the number. Iowa saw 2 out of their last 3 get over the line, throwing out the Illinois game. I'm going to lean toward the Iowa Hawkeyes minus 14 in the over 144.5. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Maryland versus UConn, 7:10 Eastern start time. The UConn Huskies are minus 3.5, totals 129 and a hook. And really, when it comes down to it, I don't know, there's really nothing bad I can say about this UConn program. They've been red hot lately. They've been playing some very solid basketball over the past month or so, covering a lot of numbers. Like I said, really nothing I could say, bad about them. Having said that, though, if I have to nitpick, I got to say the Huskies are making just 33% of their three-pointers, and they make only 6 three-pointers per contest on average, so really not a huge threat from downtown. Now, they're taking on a Maryland squad who won 6 out of their last 9 ball games in a brutal Big Ten conference. And I'll tell you this much, iron sharpens iron in that Big Ten, kind of a war of attrition in that conference this year. Now, Maryland's covered 50% of their ball games away from their home court this year, and they actually held their opponents to just 64 points per contest. Eric Ayala scoring nearly 15 points a game along with 4 rebounds and a couple assists. Meanwhile, Aaron Wiggins is scoring 14 a game himself, along with 5 rebounds and a couple assists as well. Now, both guards are 6'5" and 6'6", respectively, for the Terrapins. So once again, both of those guards 6'5" and 6'6", respectively, for the Terrapins. Now, the Terps are holding their opponents to just 40% shooting from the field and 33% shooting from downtown. Now, total-wise, Maryland saw contests with Michigan, Nebraska, and Ohio State get over the posted total within their last handful of contests. Meanwhile, UConn saw 2 out of their last 3 get over the line themselves, 5 and 4 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean toward the Maryland Terrapins plus 3.5 and the over 129 and a hook. All right, next matchup, we're taking a look at Ohio versus Virginia, 7:15 Eastern tip-off. Now, the Virginia Cavaliers are the 7-point favorite, totals 130.5. Virginia's in the top 10 in the country defensively in points allowed, top 10 in defensive rebounding as well. The Cavaliers won 7 out of their last 10 ball games, and they make 82% of their free throws. Sam Hauser scoring 16 points a game for Virginia, 6 rebounds, 43% shooting from downtown for the 6'8 senior. Meanwhile, Jay Huff scoring over 13 points a night himself, along with 7 rebounds. Now, the 7'1 forward shoots 41% from beyond the arc himself, and he's recorded 62 total blocks. Virginia is in the top 20 in the country in three-point percentage. They're taking on an Ohio squad who gives up nearly 74 points per contest, kind of struggled defensively, got into a lot of track meets this year. The Bobcats are also allowing nearly 40 second-half points per contest as well. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Ohio's last 5 ball games got over the line, throwing out the Buffalo contest. Meanwhile, Virginia saw their last 2 straight get over the total themselves, 5 and 1 of the over in their last 6. I'm going to lean toward the Virginia Cavaliers minus 7 and the over 130.5. All right, next ball game should be a good one here, guys. I'm talking about Missouri versus Oklahoma, 7:25 Eastern start time. Now, the Missouri Tigers are the 1-point favorite. Total's 139.5. The Missouri Tigers won 8 out of 13 contests away from their home court, 2-1 straight up in their neutral site contest as well. The Tigers score 74 points per contest, and they hold their opponents to just 32% shooting from beyond the arc. Drew Smith is scoring over 14 points per contest, along with 3 rebounds, 3 assists. The senior guard has also recorded 51 total steals. Xavier Pinson scoring over 14 points per contest himself for the Tigers, 2 rebounds and a couple assists as well. Now the Tigers have a .667 win percentage when favored. They're taking on an Oklahoma squad who's going to have to go to work without their second leading scorer, Dan Harmon. The Sooners have also failed to cover the point spread in their last 7 straight. They're just 33% shooting from downtown as well. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, 3 out of Oklahoma's last 5 did get over the number. 5 and 4 to the over in their last 9. Meanwhile, 5 out of Mizzou's last 9 got over the total themselves. 8 and 5 to the over in their games away from their home court. So with all that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Missouri Tigers -1 in the over 139.5. All right. Next ball game I have for you, it is going to be Norfolk State versus Gonzaga, 9:20 p.m. Eastern tip-off. The Gonzaga Bulldogs are the 33-point favorite, massive favorites here. Total's 154 flat. But Gonzaga backers have really fallen victim to egregiously high numbers recently. Now, the Bulldogs failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4 contests. Gonzaga also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 9. Once again, kind of falling victim to ridiculously high point spreads. Now, the Bulldogs also allow nearly 38 second-half points per contest, so keep that in mind as well. They're taking on a Norfolk State team who is clearly outmatched here. I get that, but they still won 9 out of their last 10 ball games, and the Spartans are actually in the top 20 in the country in defensive field goal percentage. Now, they hold their opponents to just 30% shooting from 3 land as well. Devontae Carter is the Spartans' leading scorer. He's averaging 15 points per contest along with 5 rebounds and 4 assists. Meanwhile, Joe Bryant Jr. is scoring nearly a dozen a game himself along with 4 rebounds. Norfolk State is in the top 20 in the nation in defensive field goal percentage away from home as well. Now, total-wise, the Spartans went 12 and 10 to the over for the entire season. The Zags are 5 and 2 to the over in their 7 neutral site contests themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Norfolk State Spartans, +33, and the over 151. All right, next matchup here, kind of a West Coast battle. I'm talking about UCLA versus BYU, 9:40 p.m. East. The BYU Cougars are the 3.5-point favorite. Total's 139. But as strong as the Cougars have been this season, they did fail to cover in 2 out of their last 4 contests. Failures to cover against the likes of Pepperdine and San Francisco. The Cougs also allow nearly 38 second-half points. Now they're taking on a UCLA squad who's coming fresh off a big 6-point victory over Michigan State in the first 4 of the tournament. Now the Bruins are scoring nearly 74 points per contest, and they rank in the top 40 in the country in 3-point percentage. Johnny Juzang is scoring 14.5 points a night, along with 4 rebounds and 92% shooting from the stripe. Meanwhile, Jaime Jaquez is averaging over a dozen a game himself, along with 6 boards. Now, the 6'6 guard also makes 40% of his 3 balls. And total-wise, the Bruins saw their last 2 straight get over the number, 5 and 2 to the over in their last 7. Now, the Bruins are also a perfect 4-0 to the over in their 4 neutral site contests on the season. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we're looking at a BYU squad who went 4-1 to the over in their last 5 themselves, 70% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the underdog UCLA Bruins +3.5 and the over 139. All right, next contest. I know a lot of folks have this on their upset alert, but anyway, it is going to be Abilene Christian versus Texas, 9:50 Eastern tip-off. Now, the Texas Longhorns are -8.5, numbers 139, juice to the over. And if you like the Wildcats of Abilene Christian, in a huge upset here, they're +310 for some money line cash. Now, the Wildcats, 4 losses on the season. They did all come away from their home arena. Abilene Christian also suffered losses this season to the likes of Sam Houston State and Central Arkansas. Now, the Wildcats are making just 67% of their free throws. Certainly a bad statistic here if you're looking toward backing Abilene here, not making people pay when they put them to the line. Now, they're taking on a strong Longhorn program who won their last 5 straight. They successfully covered the number in 7 out of their last 9. Texas scores nearly 76 points a game, and they're holding their opponents to just 41% shooting from the field. Andrew Jones is scoring over 14.5 points per contest, 4 rebounds, 2 assists for the junior guard. Meanwhile, Matt Coleman III is also scoring over 13 a night himself, along with 3.5 boards and 4 assists. The Longhorns are allowing just 68 points per contest, and they went 11-2 straight up in their games away from their home court. Now, total-wise, Texas saw 3 out of their last 5 get over the line, 60% to the over in their last 10. The Longhorns are actually 16-10 to the over for the entire season. Meanwhile, Abilene saw 2 out of their last 3 get over the total themselves, 80% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the Texas Longhorns minus 8.5 and the over 139. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup of the show. It is going to be Oregon versus VCU, 9:57 Eastern start time. Now, the Oregon Ducks are minus 5.5, totals 138. The Ducks have covered 5 out of their last 6 ball games, 8-2 straight up in their last 10. The Ducks are averaging nearly 75 points per contest, and they rank in the top 25 in the country in shooting the 3-ball. They're making nearly 39% of their 3-pointers. Eugene Amori is scoring over 16.5 points per contest, along with 5 rebounds and a couple assists. Meanwhile, Christian Duarte is scoring over 16 points a game himself, along with 4 boards and a couple assists as well. Duarte is also draining 43% of his 3-pointers, certainly a legitimate threat shooting from downtown. Now, Oregon allowed just 67 points per contest all season. They're taking on a VCU squad who scores just 68 points a game away from their home court, and they're making just 32% of their 3-pointers. Now, total-wise, 3 out of VCU's last 5 ball games stayed under the line, 60% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, the Rams also saw 9 out of 13 games away from their home court stay under the total as well. I'm going to lean toward the Oregon Ducks minus 5.5 in the under 138. With that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap. Once again, powered to you by my Patreon website. I like Texas Southern plus 25 over 141.5. I like UC Santa Barbara plus 7.5 over 138. Alabama minus 16.5 under 147. Drake plus 6.5 over 134. Iowa Hawkeyes minus 14 over 144.5. Maryland Terrapins plus 3.5 over 129 and a hook. Virginia minus 7 over 130.5. I also like Missouri minus 1 over 139 and a hook. Give me Norfolk State plus 33 over 154. I also like UCLA plus 3.5 over 139. Give me Texas minus 8.5 over 139. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, just a final reminder that we are hitting at 60% in our last 10 Underdog tier package picks on my Patreon website. We're also hitting at 60% in our last 15 premium sports picks in that very same tier membership. I like the Oregon Ducks minus 5.5 and the under 138. With that, guys, one final reminder that all the content on my YouTube channel is for entertainment purposes only. I don't make any guarantees of any kind. And with that, guys, that is going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind we'll bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Hopefully you enjoyed our special guests here today, our guest cameos. And with that said, guys, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.